Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're not gonna talk about the hair because I was trying to make this wig work and it seemed like it don't want to work, but today we're gonna make it work. So we just gonna ignore it. It's giving Merida, it's giving Natasha Lyon, it's giving Megan from The Exorcist, Wanda from Holiday Heart, and we got a lot to cover in today's case, so we just gonna jump right into it. I'm not gonna talk too much. Thank you so much for clicking this video. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get on into this case. I know y'all have missed this setup, so you already know what time it is. It is another true crime video, and y'all, I kid you not, this video took so much to research. It took a lot to research, especially because certain charges are still pending. So, you know, it took your girl a little bit of time, but we just gonna get right into it because we got a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover. Okay, so today's case is about R. Kelly. Okay. But although today's case is about R. Kelly, I will not be talking about R. Kelly as the singer. I will be talking about Robert Kelly as the person. So I won't even be referring to him as R. Kelly. I will be referring to him as Robert Kelly because that is who we're talking about. I will not be speaking about his music career, his accolades, his anything like that. This is strictly about the charges that were being brought against him when he was in court. So y'all don't have to worry about me, oh, you trying to make him sound good, you trying to do it. No, I'm not doing none of that. This is not that. Like, this is just about Robert Kelly. So before y'all was gonna leave y'all little nasty comments, I just wanted to let y'all know that. So with that being said, we just gonna go ahead and jump right into this case. Robert Sylvester Kelly was born on January 8th, 1967 in Hyde Park, the Hyde Park area of Chicago. He is a Capricorn, so Capricorn, this one is yours. He was born to his mother Joanne, and it is still to this day unknown who his father is. He was one of 5 children, and he was raised on the south side of Chicago in the Ida B. Wells housing project. When he was 5 years old, his mom Joanne married his stepfather Lucius, and he also began singing in the church choir when he was 8 years old. Also, when he was 8 years old, he had his first girlfriend whose name was Lulu, and they were like on a play date, and some of the like older kids in the neighborhood came and like joined them while they were playing. And when they came to join them, you know, some shit went left, and it ended with Lulu being pushed in the nearby river where she unfortunately passed away. And he attributes a lot of his he claims that Lulu is his inspiration for his music career. Also, when he was 8 years old, he was approached by a family friend who offered him money in exchange for a hand job, to which he of course said no, because like, what the hell. And the guy ended up like exposing himself to him, but he still claims that nothing happened between him and the guy. Whether you want to believe that or not, I don't know, but he said that nothing happened. He just exposed himself to him and he ran away, and that was that. Not long after this incident, Robert was asleep on the couch watching TV. Well, after watching TV, he ended up falling asleep, and he had a dream, something like that. This is what he said in an interview. He said that he was having like a dream about a TV show, and the dream ended up turning like into a wet dream. And when he woke up, he was being pleasured by a female friend of the family. So she's like fondling him and everything, and he's like asking her to stop and but basically like begging her like please don't do this. And her nasty ass ain't listening, so she finishes until completion, and then she tells him that if he ever tells anyone, he gonna get his ass whooped, which is so messed up. It's so messed up. And I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you just trying to, paint a certain picture of him, whatever, whatever. Girl, I'm just telling the story, okay? If you watch Brittany Vaughn videos, I don't make the news, I report it. So that's what we're doing today, okay? I am not in any way, I just want to say this man is nasty, okay? He is very nasty, and I am not in any way trying to excuse anything that he did to any of his victims at all. At all. This man is nasty. I'm just telling the story, okay? And this is what happened. So he was abused by this female family friend until he was about 14 or 15 years old. And he never told anybody about it until way later in life. He hasn't come clean on like who the family friend was or anything like that. But he did say that it was like one of the most embarrassing moments of his life, and he just could not get over the fact that that happened to him. He also went on record saying that when his mom, because he lived with his mom and his grandmother, so when his mom and his grandmother were at the house, like certain family members would like behave a certain way, and then when they would leave, it would be like a switch was flipped, and they would start acting completely different. And one of these people that would act different would be Robert's older sister, Teresa. It was alleged by his younger brother, Kelly, that Teresa would sexually abuse both of them. They had an older brother, Bruce, and Bruce would be like outside playing, and she would come up with every excuse as to why Carrie and Robert could not go outside and play. So whenever they were like inside on punishment, she would have them locked into separate rooms, and she would go room by room and sexually abuse both of her brothers, which is so disgusting. And when Carrie brought this up, she declined to make any comments on it, which does not look too good for her because, girl, if you didn't do it, just say you didn't do it. But by you declining to make a comment, it's giving guilty. So she needs to be in prison along with everybody else because that's nasty as hell. At the age of 10, Robert was he was sexually abused by an older male friend of the family. And at the age of 11, he was fed up. He said, I'm tired of this. I'm about to just check myself out. So he decided he was gonna unalive himself. But when he did, he accidentally shot himself in the arm. I'm sorry, he shot himself in the shoulder. And to explain like why he was shot, he said that he was being robbed by some of the neighborhood kids for his bicycle, but someone ended up coming forward saying that that's not what happened at all, that he tried to take his own life. When Robert was in high school, he was diagnosed with dyslexia, which is a learning disability, in case anybody didn't know. It's a learning disability in which certain letters and numbers are like distorted so that you can't quite understand like what certain things are. That's like the best way that I can my brother has dyslexia, so that's the best way that I can explain it. But it is a learning disability, and it does make it very difficult to read and write. And after struggling with this during his freshman year in high school, he ended up dropping out. And as a ways to just like kind of support himself, he would go to the nearby subway station and he would like sing for money. He also became very good at basketball. So whenever he wasn't singing by the subway stations, he was playing basketball. He was so good at basketball that in 1997, he ended up being signed to the United States Basketball League, which is like a minor league basketball team. And the team that he played for was the Atlantic City Seagulls. Seagulls, yeah. And it was written into his contract that if he had to write a song for someone or something, then he was able to get the time off. But for the most part, he was pretty okay. And I've actually seen like videos of him playing basketball, and he was real good. Like, he was real good.
Hey, that's the one y'all send YouTube.
I give him that. He was very good at playing basketball. I don't know what it is with people from Chicago, but a lot of people from Chicago know how to play basketball. That's crazy. In 1992, he was introduced to a 12-year-old singer from Detroit, Michigan, and he was introduced to this aspiring singer by his manager at the time, Barry Hankerson. And I'm pretty sure y'all know where this is going. The 12-year-old was Aaliyah, of course. During this time, he made her his protege, and he would go on to write her very first debut. Well, he would go on to write her debut album, "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number," in 1994. Y'all know that album was a smash. I mean, it was a smash. Okay, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, in 1994, while Robert was on tour for his 12-play album, he received a call from a very frantic Aaliyah, who was saying that she ran away from home because she thought that she was pregnant. So one of Robert's longtime friends that was on tour with him, they were in Miami at the time, and one of his longtime friends actually put the idea into his head that to keep himself out of legal trouble, he should marry Aaliyah. So the friend's name is Demetrius Smith. So Robert and Demetrius left the tour, and they flew from Miami to Chicago, where he met up with Aaliyah, and they were married in a private ceremony at the Sheraton Hotel in Chicago. And once the marriage ceremony was complete, Robert and Demetrius flew back to Miami to finish out that leg of the tour. The marriage license was, of course, obtained illegally. Demetrius had a connection with a longtime friend at the Chicago Public Authority who was able to get Aaliyah a fake ID to say that she was 18 instead of 14. So they had the ceremony and everything, and then they flew back to finish out the tour. So Aaliyah's parents did discover that she had gotten married to Robert, and they flew to Chicago and went to like the Cook County Public Records Office, and they had the marriage annulled. Plot twist, Aaliyah was not pregnant. I still don't know like why she thought she was. I don't know if she had it taken care of. Like, she not here to tell a story, and out of respect, Robert said he's not saying anything, so we really don't know if it was a scare or if she was actually preggers. They had the marriage annulled, and Aaliyah stated that the marriage couldn't be valid because she had a fake ID at the time, and instead of her being 18 and able to sign it, she was only 15. She was only 15. So the marriage was annulled, of course, and they were never ever seen publicly together again, and that was the end of their situation. After following everything, Robert still speaks very highly of Aaliyah. He still says that, they were best friends. Anytime one of them needed the other, they could call on them. They could talk about anything, and that out of respect for the late Aaliyah and also her late father, that he would not publicly speak on their situation at all. He absolutely refuses to do so because he thinks that it's disrespectful to the deceased. And I totally understand that. But at the same time, like, hello, like, people are speculating, you got to say something. But he's still holding on to out of respect, not saying anything. And honestly, I can understand that. The marriage was annulled in February of 1995. And in May of 1997, Aaliyah asked that the annulment and all of the records and everything be expunged so that there is no way to trace anything. There's no way of anybody being able to get their hands on the information. And that was that. So there is no public record of them being married at all. It ended up backfiring on him because hello, this is when the legal trouble starts. The real legal trouble starts. In 1996, a civil suit was filed against Robert by Tiffany Hawkins, who alleges that she had sexual relations with Robert when she was 15 years old, and that he pressured her into inviting some of her friends along as well to participate in the debauchery. And she filed the civil suit when she was 24, and she used the evidence of Aaliyah trying to get the records expunged as proof that he was into underage girls. So in 1998, the case between Robert and Tiffany Hawkins was settled for $250,000, and she was also to sign a confidentiality agreement. So like basically she could never speak about anything else ever again. In December of 2000, Robert found himself in court again because there was an investigation started that said that he was having inappropriate relations with underage girls. But the case ended up being dismissed because the alleged victims refused to come forward. So he got away with that, and that was the beginning of the downfall, honestly. On February 3rd of 2002, an anonymous tape was sent to the Chicago Sun newspaper, and in the video it depicted, allegedly, Robert engaging in some relations with an appearing underage female. And this is the very famous tape where he was caught urinating on her on camera. And the news didn't break until February 8th of 2002, where Robert was performing the opening ceremonies of the 2002 Winter Olympics. So once the news broke and the tape circulated, all hell broke loose. Like, it was so bad. Like, I've asked my parents about this, like, when it happened, because I mean I was only 7, so I don't know anything. Well, actually I wasn't even 7 yet, I was 6. So like I asked my mom about it, and she said that the tape was like the tape was selling like hotcakes. Like, it was crazy. And I don't think anybody realized, or maybe they did realize and they didn't care, but you know, back then celebrity sex tapes was a big thing. And my mom said that that tape was selling on the street like bootleg CDs. She said that she actually saw the tape. I think she said it was by accident. I'm not sure. But she said that she did see the tape, and she said it was him. So, you know. But of course, when it was brought up in court, he used what they now call the Shaggy defense, which is basically like, it wasn't me, you know. So that happened. And the alleged victim that was in the video, she did not cooperate whatsoever with the investigation. So the charges were dismissed once again. Kelly was indicted in Chicago on 21 counts of child porn, and he was arrested on June 6th by Miami police and extradited back to Chicago to stand trial, where he was released after posting $100,000 bail. My God. You know what I would do with that type of money? Definitely wouldn't be bailing myself out of jail. So during the investigation, the Polk County Sheriff's Office ended up recovering 12 images, like Polaroid pictures, of him engaging in sexual acts with minors. And he tried to hide it, but he didn't try to hide it too well because they found the pictures wrapped in a towel in a duffel bag in his closet. So he didn't try that hard. Like, why you didn't have a safe or something? He was again arrested in January of 2003, and after posting $12,000 bail, he was released 3 hours later. The charges were dropped due to them being due to lack of probable cause when they were obtaining the search warrant to search his properties. So the charges were dropped, and once again, he gets off scot-free. In 2009, Robert was accused of molesting a preteen by his ex-wife, Andrea Kelly, during their divorce. She also said that he was very abusive to her, both verbally and physically, which was the grounds for her filing the divorce. Andrea was actually one of his backup dancers, and they got married not long after. I think they got married in 1996. Not long after the Aaliyah situation. They were married for 13 years, in which the couple had 3 children. On July 17th of 2017, he was accused by 3 sets of parents of holding their daughters hostage. One of the said hostages ended up posting like a video that I think TMZ ended up getting a copy of it or something, where she was basically saying that, she wasn't being held hostage. She was not there against her will. That is where she wanted to be. Stop bothering her. Stop looking for her. Stop making false accusations. Blase, blase. And that was pretty much it for that. During this time, he was also accused by a former partner of knowingly giving them an STD, which is illegal. But I'm assuming that it was herpes for whatever reason. I don't know. In May of 2018, that is when the Mute R. Kelly movement was founded, following the founding of the Me Too movement. And during this time is when the Surviving R. Kelly documentary came out, which gave the documentary was put together by Dream Hampton, and she, got all of the victims to go on the record explaining their encounters with Robert. I watched part 1 and 2 on Lifetime when they premiered. There is also like the Surviving, I think they put it on Netflix, but I haven't watched, the rest of it. I feel like part 1 and part 2 is quite enough for me to know how nasty this man was. But yeah, I'm not sure how many parts there are exactly, but I did watch part 1 and 2, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty interesting documentary. I don't want to say it was a good documentary because that sounds awful, but it was a pretty interesting documentary. During the Mute R. Kelly movement, a lot of streaming platforms said that they would stop like promoting and playing his music and everything. And among those streaming services were Pandora, Spotify, and Apple Music. But a lot of those streaming platforms, especially Apple Music and Spotify, ended up catching fire by saying that by muting R. Kelly, that means that if any other artist gets into any type of legal trouble and people make a big fuss about it, that their music could be removed from the platform as well on the same grounds, which is understandable. However, Spotify was like, yeah, you know what, y'all are actually right. We're gonna go ahead and take care of that. So they put his music back on the streaming platforms and everything. They're not promoting it, but if you want to listen to his music, it is still there. And they caught a lot of hell behind that. Even Top Dog Entertainment, which is the Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Isaiah Rashad, Absol, all of them are signed to, they threatened to pull all of their music off of the platform if R. Kelly's music was put back on there. And baby, I listened to Control the other day. During this time, several artists removed their collaborations that they did with R. Kelly off of their streaming platforms as well. Among these artists were Jennifer Hudson, Lady Gaga, and Celine Dion. In January of 2019, following the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, he was dropped from his record label, RCA Records. In October of 2021, his YouTube channel was disabled. And although his YouTube channel was disabled, his music is still available on YouTube Music. Like, what was the point? The music industry was also very heavily criticized for being complicit with his nastiness. Those included both RCA Records and Jive Records. And it was said R. Kelly's tour manager at the time approached the then president of Jive Records, Clive Calder, and he was desperate. He was like, look, can you threaten to not release any of this man's music if he doesn't stop having relations with underage women? And Clive was like, this is a cash cow, no. Clive ended up going on record later saying that he regrets that decision. I bet you do. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I feel like he didn't know how bad it was. He just thought it was like, you know, maybe a little here and there, but he didn't know that it was as much as it was. But regardless, if somebody is coming to you saying that their artist is engaging in sexual activity with a, like, child, he can keep that shit. The next Jive president, Barry Weiss, he also went on record saying that he did not concern himself with Robert's private matters, that they had nothing to do with their part of the business. Even after the allegations came out, he still maintains that he was unaware of everything that was going on, that the private matters of his artists did not matter to him. And when the lawsuits came out, he literally said that Jive Records is not liable for anything because it has nothing to do with them. The label executive, David McPherson, he was also approached with the infamous tape, and he avoided that tape at all costs. He never watched it. He did not partake in any discussions about it. If it was brought up, he would quickly change the subject. He just did not want to deal with it whatsoever. And he ended up telling Robert's assistant at the time that if it was him in the video, he would be dropped from the label. Studio employees, wherever he was recording his music, were also made to sign non-disclosure agreements. And they were also like forbidden to go into certain rooms in the studio. And it's believed that they were not allowed in those rooms because that is where he was keeping, you know, the underage women. And 2019 would continue to be the year of this man's downfall. On March 6th of 2019, that is when the infamous Gayle King interview was released.
Why are you sitting down with us today?
I'm very tired of all of the lies. I've been hearing things and, you know, and seeing things on the blogs, and, you know, I'm just tired.
What are the lies that you're hearing that disturb you most?
Oh my God, all of them. Got little girls trapped in the basement, helicopters over my house, trying to rescue someone that doesn't need rescuing because they're not in my house, handcuffing people, starving people. I have a harem, a cult. I don't even really know what a cult is, but I know I don't have one, you know.
Have you done anything that you regret? Have you done anything wrong?
Lots of things wrong, when it comes to women that I apologize. But I apologize in those relationships. At the time I was in the relationships.
Have you broken any laws when it comes to women?
Absolutely not.
The 6-part series interviewed 50 people, family members, your former tour manager, numerous women who all claim that you abused them. Yeah. Are you saying everybody in that documentary was not telling the truth about you? Everybody?
If you really look at that documentary, which I'm sure you have,
I have.
Everybody said something bad about me. Nobody said nothing good. They was describing Lucifer. I'm not Lucifer. I'm a man. I make mistakes, but I'm not a devil, and by no means am I a monster.
I'm going to name the names. Andrea Kelly, your ex-wife, Kitty Jones, Lisa Van Allen, Lisette Martinez, Geronda Pace, Faith Rogers, Asante McGee. You're saying everything they said in that documentary about you is not true.
They are lying on me.
Why would these women say the same thing about you, that you are controlling, that you are abusive, that you tell women when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when they can sleep, where they can dress? Why would all these women tell these different stories about you if they were not true? And they don't know each other. That defies logic to me.
Right. Until you hear the explanation. You can start a rumor on a guy like me or a celebrity just like that. All you have to do is push a button on your phone and say, so-and-so did this to me. R. Kelly did this to me. And if you get any traction from that, if you're able to write a book from that, if you're able to get a reality show, then any girl that I had a relationship in the past that it just didn't work out, she can come and say the same exact thing.
Are you blaming this on social media?
I'm talking about the power of social media.
I have to tell you, it's so hard to believe that based on all that we've read
I'm gonna tell you something, Gail. There's one
you.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Said about you. So they're lying on you. That's your explanation. They're lying on you.
Absolutely.
You feel that people have maligned your character?
I have been assassinated. I have been buried alive.
That you have never held anybody against their will?
I don't need to. Why would I?
Well,
how stupid would it be for R. Kelly, with all I've been through in my way past, to hold somebody, let alone 4, 5, 6, 50, you said. How stupid would I be to do that? Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense. Don't forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me to, with my crazy past and what I've been through, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement, and don't let them eat and don't let them out unless they need some shoes down the street from their uncle. Being honest, somebody sent me something on my phone and it said that I hog-tied her. I don't know how to hog-tie people. What would I hog-tie? My kids is listening to this. All of it playing. Quit playing. Robert. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You killing me, man. This is not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it. I hope this camera keep going.
No, we're going to let the camera keep rolling.
This is not true. This is not, doesn't even make sense. Why would I hold all these women? Their mothers and fathers told me, we're going to destroy your career. It's real girls out there missing. It's real young girls out there being abducted, being raped, okay? They really are on chains. They really do have chains on their wrists, and they can't get out. Robert, and they're ending up buried in death.
Robert, we have to have a conversation. Really, I don't want you just ranting at the camera.
I came here for them to hear me talk.
But
I need help.
What kind of help?
This is the kind of help I need.
Yes, what kind of help?
I need somebody to help me not have a big heart. Because my heart is so big. People betray me, and I keep forgiving them.
You sound like you're playing the victim here. You sound like R. Kelly, you do. When I listen to you,
I'm
it
just
does
telling
sound
the
like
truth.
you're playing the victim
I'm just
card.
telling the truth. And the reason I'm emotional,
Robert,
and I apologize for that,
No,
is
no, no,
because this
no.
is the first time.
Honestly, after watching that interview, the only thing that I believe that he didn't do was hog tie people. That's the only thing that got me sold, because he said it was such impunity. Like I don't think that he hog tied them. Now I believe everything else, but he was so adamant about not hog tying people that I think that's the only thing in that entire interview that he was telling the truth about. Maybe he don't know how to hog tie people. I don't know. I don't know how to hog tie people. Why would I hog tie him? On February 22nd of 2019, it's always raining here. February 22nd of 2019, he was charged with 10 counts of aggravated sexual abuse. He turned himself into authorities and he was given a $1 million bond. And he was also forbidden to speak with anybody that was related to the case, and also anybody that was under the age of 18 for any reason. He was completely forbidden from doing that. He pled not guilty and he was released 3 days later. On July 11th of 2019. Okay, it's just gonna thunder and lightning and all that. That's a bit. Okay, it's raining catfish and mud dogs outside, so I'm gonna just hurry up and finish this video before my lights go out, because I have a feeling that's where we're going today. July 11th of 2019, he was arrested on federal charges for sex trafficking and obstruction of justice by the Department of Homeland Security and the New York Police Department. He was indicted on 18 charges. I actually have to read this from my notes because it's a lot. He was indicted on 18 charges, including child sexual exploitation, child porn production, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, and racketeering. He pled not guilty. He was denied bail due to him being a flight risk. His lawyers made 2 attempts to get him a pre-trial release, and both of them were denied. 2 additional indictments were added, which brought the total number of indictments against him to 22. 22. They said we couldn't get you for this back then in the 90s, but we gonna get you for it now. Like, his mind was telling him no, his body should have been telling him no too, because y'all know what happens from here. He got found guilty, and he is now facing 30 years in New York prison. But that's not where it stops, because he also has pending charges in Minneapolis, and he also has pending charges in Chicago. In Minnesota, he was charged with soliciting a minor and prostitution. I don't know exactly what his Chicago charges are. I thought that I had it in my notes, but apparently I didn't. But he is facing those charges as well as the charges in Chicago. But he's not getting out anytime after 30 years. Like, this man is not getting out of jail. He's done for. He's well done. And in addition to that, your girl, he ain't got no money. They seized every dollar in his account. He has $500 to his name. They seized his cryptocurrencies as well as like the actual money that he had to pay back to the state for his racketeering. He has the other 2 trials coming up towards the end of this year and the beginning of next year. And it was also said, this is not in my notes, but I did see this a couple of days ago. It was reported that his former, I didn't know you could undo this, but his former goddaughter, she said that they had sex over 100 times before she turned 18. Girl, this was a hard, this was like such, it's not, I'm not gonna say it was a hard case. It was just so much research. It was so many sources I had to go through. I did see like interviews that he did with, I think he did it, most of my information came from him himself. It was an interview that he did with GQ magazine, and that's where he basically told the story of like his upbringing and all of the abuse against him and blase. But none of that matters, because you don't do, like, if you know how it felt when it happened to you, there is no I didn't know it was wrong. Like, you knew it was wrong, you just didn't think that you would get caught the same way that the other people that did it to you didn't get caught. But he could have definitely broken the cycle. Like, you tried to take your own life with all of this happening to you. So why do you think that it's okay for you to do that to somebody else? Like, I'm not gonna say what I have to say about the victims, because then y'all gonna hate me. So I'm gonna just keep it to myself. But yeah, so maybe he getting additional time onto them 30 years, because them 30 years that he got was for the 30 years that he been getting away with shit. So he probably not he probably gonna die in prison, I'm not gonna lie. And it's very sad because, you know, the man makes good music. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm not gonna just say his music, but like the music that he's made for other people. Like with the Mute R. Kelly thing, I get why a lot of people were against it, because I mean, let's be for real. Michael Jackson's catalog is still everywhere. Like, come on. And he had all those charges brought against him. Do you know how much of a public uproar it would have been if they tried to take Michael Jackson's music off of streaming platforms? Girl, I don't even want to imagine it. But he ain't no Mike. And it's just, my heart goes out to the victims for real, because if they were held against their will, or if they were not willing participants in all of this that was going on, my heart does go out to them, because I cannot imagine being in that situation. That is all I have for this case, the case of Robert Kelly. If you guys have any case suggestions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. All of that information will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.